Hello, I'm Adam Clarke, Chief Underwriting Officer at Ageas, and welcome to Insured Insights. Today we're going to be discussing the value of data science in underwriting. And I'm really pleased to be able to welcome Tim Rourke with me today. Welcome, Tim.
Thanks for having me, Adam. Nice to see you.
And you. Tim works for Willis Towers Watson. So they're a consultancy firm that specialise in looking at the UK insurance market. Tim's UK head of pricing, product, claims and underwriting. We're going to be having a short discussion today and really just having a debate and a conversation and just really give you our views of really how we think effectively data science is influencing the market today. Now, we have this strange looking object here in the middle called the big button, and that button we're going to take in turns to press because obviously it's very exciting to be able to press the button.
Very exciting, that's why I'm here today, I think.
So we'll press the button and then a random question will come up on the screen and then we'll have a debate and have a chat. So Tim, over to you. Press the button.
Thanks very much. Here we go.
How can insurers use data science alongside experienced decision makers to generate value?
Yeah, well, this is something, that we worked on in the past, Adam. The concept of being able to kind of get underwriters bought in and adding to the kind of the analytics has been around for years. Whether that be GLMs or in the modern data science world and machine learning. And I think even though those techniques are not necessarily as transparent and as easy to interpret, I still think that there is massive benefit to having great underwriters coming in, looking at it, challenging those mathematical models to make sure that they're relevant and they're commercial. So for me, I think that the two together, not unexpectedly, creates the most value for an organisation, and whether that be, GLMs, machine learning methods, critical that, you get the buy-in from the kind of commercially focused underwriter.
Yeah. For me, it's really important, having someone that's got that real world view, they've got the commercial aspects and they've not just got the modelling. It's actually bringing the two things together that really makes the difference. A good example is, COVID. These models are brilliant at using data and they look at the past. They're actually getting much better at predicting the future. But when there was no path for the future, as in COVID, it needed someone to actually look at it and form a judgment. Well, what's going to happen next? It was difficult for anyone to know what a model would say. And that's where you have to have that sort of personal decision making and people making judgment, really.
Yeah, and you just can't lose sight of the value of underwriters who can look forward. They can predict things that might be happening, and as you say, even though these methods are good at kind of looking at the future, also, and we've seen in recent times that the need to kind of look at unprecedented circumstances and have an underwriter saying, look, I just think this might be slightly different to what the maths is saying. The combination of the two can be very powerful and not to be underestimated, and I think there is a real place for the two, and making them work together and enjoy working together, I think is really important.
I think we'll now push the big button again, but maybe if you let me have a go this time.
Well, Adam, I think as I'm the guest, I think I should press it if that's
go on
all
then,
right.
have another
Thank
go.
you. Here we go.
Right. What role could new and alternative data sources play in the underwriting policies of the future? So it's all about new data and how might that affect policies of the future.
Yeah. I mean, working in a consultancy firm, the concept of, external data, internal data, how you can make the most of it, how you can get the value has been something there since the kind of bodily injury crisis of 2009 in the motor, in home, in lots of other lines of business. And I still think that there is a tremendous amount of resources that insurers, put towards getting the best data sources. Data science has opened up a whole new raft of opportunity with regards to data, and I also think that the concept of the connected home, of electric vehicles, connected cars, that's an interesting area that I think has kind of been underutilized, and as people start to get over privacy and things like that, it's a really interesting area where data science can really make the most of that, where historically it might have been more challenging.
Yeah. I think the points you make around connected cars, you just think about the huge amount of data that's in a connected car, and some of it's really obvious, like is the person wearing a seatbelt? That's a really obvious piece of data that would be really interesting to us if there's an accident. But there's other things like how many people were in the car, because how many people are sitting in the seats. maybe what was the mobile phone being used. You know, what was the speed? You know, what was the loudness of the radio? You know, there's some really interesting data that we just have no idea whether this is predictive or not. It's just going to be actually a case of the scale of ingesting all that data and then doing something with it, really.
Yeah, but it's interesting because it gets back as well to the point of the underwriters, you know, and how they can kind of bring that stuff to life as well. You know, things like, you know, CarPlay, Apple CarPlay, you know, is that a distraction? You know, the really interesting things that you can get from this data.
And that's where you need a bit of curiosity, don't you?
Yeah.
In either data science people or underwriters of, well, might this factor be interesting? And you have to be quite curious. You have to find out whether you can, you know, get the data in the first place, and then is it actually predictive? Does it actually work? So there's quite a lot of test and learn, I think, involved in this process, and a lot of, you know, sort of testing and accessing data in many different ways, and that's where the models are brilliant now, because you've got much more speed and agility.
Yes.
With some of the new machine learning models.
No, I totally agree. And as you say, this would have been something that was far more challenging 10 or 15 years ago, and these new techniques have kind of brought this data into the front of being able to really harness its power as well.
Yeah, and you know, we talk about connected cars a lot, but actually there's a lot of here and now data. You know, that particularly with us when we work with some of our brokers, they've got some really quite unique data, and actually using that is actually a really good opportunity to really add some value. And it's a data point that maybe only that broker knows about, and it really can personalise the pricing for our customers as well.
Quite, you know, this market, you know, the UK personalised market is a challenging one. It's, you know, and anything that gives you kind of underwriting edges, whether that be unique broker data, is something that you've got to look at, embrace, and try and get the most value from. Totally agree.
Brilliant. Okay. Oh, thank you. I've been dying to do this. There you go. How can insurers put ahead of the pack when it comes to embracing data science? Okay.
Yeah, this is a really interesting one for me. I mean, you know, the models are more complicated. They are more opaque, they're more complicated, and I think that some of the being aware of the downside of data science from very much a mathematical statistical point of view to how you can deploy these models into the real environment to get value. For me, the insurers that understand the quality of data that you need, understand the fact that you need to treat these models with respect, and you can't just run them and not challenge them, their quality, and using data science in a way that creates value for the business. Those insurers that I think do that are the ones that are pulling ahead. The ones that just think that if I just get a team of data scientists of 3 people and expect that to make me money, that's not going to happen. And I think we've seen that in the industry. It's about clever use of data science, commercial use of data science, not just if I do it, I'm going to make some money. I don't think it works like that.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating, and you know, there's sometimes a bit of a trade-off here between technical models and excellence and actually just deploying it into the market. You know, before we had some of our new software, we had some great people, we built some great models, but we just could not get the sophistication deployed to our customers. And now we can, and that's a great example where we had the people, we had the modelling, and we just had no way of actually getting that price to the customer. So you do have to think much more holistically. And I think it's those insurers that think like that are definitely seeming to be winning, and they're pulling ahead and they're gaining an advantage.
I totally agree. The other thing is, you know, data scientists are, you know, in many ways they're quite a different type of professional within an insurance company, and you know what they are looking to get from their job is potentially different to what it might have been if you just got, say, actuaries in the room who may look at things differently. And I think that those organisations that embrace what data science brings to their business, empower them, allow them to do what they do, but with a commercial focus is really important. Those that just try and not let data scientists do data science, that can be quite a frictional thing within an insurer that, you know, again, only the ones that only the insurers that experience understand, and I think it's important culturally, you know, for a business.
I think that's a really good point, you know, and we found it here at Ageas that you have to let people have time to solve problems. Yes. You know, it's not about I want this output by next Wednesday. It's like I've got a problem. How might you solve it? Yeah. And it's quite a different way of sort of reframing a very same, maybe a similar question, but you're right. Allowing the data scientists and the people to think maybe a bit differently to how we've have traditionally thought to have that space and the culture in the business to do that.